So when I first got released, I actually got released in BC because my kids were with my ex-in-laws in Vernon, and I wanted to be close to them. I wasn't trying to get them back or anything like that, because they were in a situation that they were stable and they were supported and happy and all of those things. So I just wanted to be close to them so I could rebuild that relationship. And I got released to a community where there was some pretty good recovery happening, and I got myself a sponsor, and I started going to Narcotics Anonymous. And like, yeah, there's the first couple of years I wasn't really sure what that was going to look like, because despite the fact that I have university degrees, how do I tell people that I've been to prison and find a job? Like, what does that even look like? I can't be a lawyer again, I'm disbarred. And so the first couple of years were a bit of a struggle for me, because I was trying to just figure out who I was and whether I could be transparent. And at first I basically chose to lie. Like, I got a job and lied about where that big gap in my resume was coming from. And unfortunately, that ultimately led me to relapsing. I had 33 months clean, and I went back out for 6 months. And when I relapsed, I was like, that was in 2018. When I relapsed, I was so miserable. And I had that 33 months of clean time to sort of reflect on. And I used that as sort of the foundation to come back. And I was like, I don't want to use, and I don't want to get high anymore. And I don't want that life for myself anymore. But I also can't be hiding in plain sight. So that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell everybody who will listen to me that I'm in recovery, that I ended up in prison, that I got disbarred, that I lost my kids. I'll tell everybody that will listen to me. And I feel like my lived experience and my education will be valued somewhere. And I'm going to use that to make changes in community. So I for a while worked for Elizabeth Fry Society in Kamloops, where I was living, and ended up working there for like 4 years, and was really transparent, and started public speaking, and doing different things around that. I spoke at the university, to the law school. I spoke at a judges conference, a provincial judges conference, in front of 140 judges. I don't recommend that to anybody. That was very nerve-wracking. But a really good friend of mine that also had done federal time for trafficking, that I met in prison, got a hold of me, and she was like, Elizabeth Fry in Saskatchewan needs an executive director. And I said, I'm not coming back there. I don't want to live there again. And I ended up coming back. So I have been clean now almost 6.5 years. But it is an everyday thing. And I think that for me, I have an Instagram page that's all about recovery, and I have a sponsor, and I haven't really been going to meetings here because it's sort of weird here. But I still do different things to support my recovery. And I think that my job is absolutely one of those things.
You kind of mentioned it in your last answer there, but the public speaking.
Yeah.
Obviously, you do it so often now, and you've done quite a few of these podcast interviews, so you're used to it. But what was it like when you first had to get up on stage and speak about your story, especially in the town where you grew up?
Yeah. So I've only done a bit of public speaking in town here. I've done, I guess I have done a little bit. Yeah. You know what? People really, it's always really well received, because people want to hear those stories, right? And I think that they appreciate the transparency and my ability to be vulnerable about it. And I always get a little bit nervous at the very beginning. Last spring I spoke in front of the Canadian Bar Association, in front of a bunch of judges and lawyers, and it depends who I'm speaking to. I'm speaking next week too, and it depends who I'm speaking to, but it's coming from the heart, because these are things that I went through, and I think that they should be used in a way that give people hope that they can change, or that they can find those supports, or if they're on the other end of it, so that they can understand what people go through and how they end up where they end up, because a lot of people just they judge, right? And it honestly, it could happen to anybody. And so I think that that's what I would like people to understand.